like the first three that we're going to take are the most arguably the most reliable tests. And if you have anything else that's fun, that's reliable, or even if it's goofy, that's fine too. We'll take some of those tonight. I think it'll be fun just to hang out and do something different, you know? Let's change up this title here. All right, Myers-Briggs chat test. Updated that stream title. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's take this test here. Let's get started. If you guys want to open up a tab on your page and click that with me. We can go through this together, all right? I'd love to get your guys' opinions. Why is it not going? Okay, so you just gotta scroll down here then, right? Okay. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. I'm gonna go with let's go with, this is about where I am on this question. I'm gonna go a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see these questions as we go. There we go, perfect. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. I'm gonna go with disagree, not strongly, but definitely in the disagree camp here. My preference is that I am around a table or hanging out with you guys somewhere that is nice and cozy. I don't like giant parties. We should be able to do this as well. So let's put this back over here. I'm gonna do this one as well. We won't want that. We want right display. Here we go. This makes it full screen for us. I like playing board games with people. There you go. That's exactly how I am, dude. Yeah, so we're gonna go with right there. Sometimes in a larger setting. Ah, okay, yeah. I'm gonna change this chat box to have the chat box in the background. Since we're in a white background, it'll be better that you guys can see the chat in those boxes. There we go. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. I would definitely say agree with this. I'm very open to ideas. Like I said, I go to board games conventions and such. Oh, that's super cool, dude. Yeah, TreeCat is another person in my chat that does that as well. He hosts games at gaming conventions and stuff. Pretty cool stuff. I love to do a lot of thought experiments and things of that nature, so I'm gonna go with agree. I'm not too crazy about it, but I do like to do it. So your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary. Yes, I'm gonna agree with that. I'm not very organized, but I know that I have to get some bullet points down about what I need to get done. And I'm not very good at a detailed itinerary. That's my weak point, for sure. You often think about what you should have said in a conversation long after it has been taken place. That was more true of me before than it is now. I'm gonna go with agree. I do think about times when I could have said something better, but I've grown to understand that you're not going to be able to say everything that you want to say perfectly, but a lot of it has to do with good preparation, being able to manage your thoughts in a concise and wise way. So I'm going to go with yes. I do think about what I say long after I've said it, but it's not to the same degree as it was before. If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally and not try to solve their problem. I'm gonna go disagree on this. I do like to hear people's emotional problems, but there's no question that I I instinctively go to how the problem can be solved. Like, I don't mind hearing people's problems, but I'm not always in the mood to just emotionally support someone and never give any criticism of how they got themselves into that situation, because very often we might not like to hear it, but very often the reason that we're in a pickle or in a bind is because we made bad decisions. You know, how are we gonna get ourselves out of that problem? I can have to go with disagree on this one. People rarely can really upset you. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much would say I agree with this. It takes a lot to make me upset. I don't really, like, I guess maybe it's not fair to say, because I know I can get upset online every now and then when I see online things that are going on badly, but people in my personal life, I don't let them get in the way of making me upset, and I don't harbor a lot of ill will towards people at all. I kind of just see people as people. I'm gonna go with agree on this. I'm gonna go with there and in the middle agree, because I know sometimes people will get me upset, but in general, that's kind of where I'm at. We're at 10% now. You often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation and keep it going. No, I disagree with this. I think I'm almost always the person that has to induce conversation and the one that has to keep it going. So that's maybe a bit of a streamer curse as well. I've always been more talkative than most people around me. So, if you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, you make sure it is your top priority to get back on track as soon as possible. I would say agree. Yeah, I try to stick to the plans that I make, and when I have to stop them, I try to get back onto those plans immediately after. You rarely worry if you made an impression on someone that you met. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't really, honestly, I just assume that I made a good impression on people, and I just trust that they know me through my good character and my personality that we were introduced from. So I don't really, yeah, I mean, I don't really think about first impressions I don't put a lot of stock into first impressions in general. I know people say that, oh, you know what, your first impression, it means the most, and like, I think that over time a lot of that is kind of silliness. So might be true for like the first day or two, but once you get to know people, first impressions are, I don't know, I don't take much stock in them. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend all by yourself without feeling bored. I disagree with that. I could easily... Alright, I finished mine? Alright, cool. I'm at 17, so I got a minute here to get through. I'm just trying to explain my thought process for you guys so you understand what I'm thinking. Pizza bites are finished? Awesome, Zokajor. It would be a challenge for you to send. I think I would be able to stream. I'd be able to read books. I'd be able to do cleaning around the house, mow the lawn, play video games. If I had to spend the whole weekend all by myself, that sounds like absolute pure bliss. Now, if it was absolutely alone without streaming, I still think I would disagree with this. I still think I could entertain myself to no end. I would be reading books. I'm a it's what people call introverted person, so whenever I'm on Twitch or streaming, this is my way of getting out into the world, because more often than not, I'm alone by myself. So outside of my kids, you know, my wife. You are more of a detail-oriented person than a big picture person. I would go with disagree here. I'm definitely a big picture person. Want to become friends? Buy followers and primes? No, we don't want to do that. Sorry, you dudes. I'm gonna have to block you guys, sadly. There we go. Just got to ban you guys. See you later. You are very affectionate with people you care about. Eh. I'm gonna go with not very. I'm gonna go with disagree on this actually. I'm affectionate, but I wouldn't say that I'm very affectionate. Maybe I'll just go with neutral on this because I am an affectionate person. I have a heart for people. But I recognize that I'm not always the person to go out of my way to make people feel. I don't know. I'm middle of the road on this. Just the word "very" here is what's the problem for me. So I'm gonna go with neutral. You say if you were to say you are affectionate with people you care about, then I would say agree. But the "very" is putting me in neutral. You're careful and methodological approach to life. I would say agree. I think I pretty much have planned out my life fairly well. I don't deviate from it very much. You're still bothered by the mistakes you made a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's certain things I feel bad about, but um I don't like dwell on them, but I'm still bothered by mistakes I've made, and I recognize that if I were able to go back in time, I would make some changes. There's no doubt about that. But I have also spent the time that I can to reconcile with people if I was able to do that. So at parties and similar events, you can mostly be found farther away from the action. Agree. Yeah, at bigger parties, I'm almost always tucked away in a corner. I'm not the person that's in the middle trying to get attention. Sometimes I like to play music and songs for people, and then people will gather around me because I see the talent or they like the music or whatever. But in general, no. I like to be by myself. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. I'm going to go with agree on this one. I often do not like people that let their emotions guide them. I often, in some respects, I respect the fact that emotions are a human in reality, and I know that I have my own emotions and that I can make decisions based upon my emotions. But when I can see people and they are not acting rationally and they're only acting out of their emotions, I kind of don't like that at all. So I'm gonna go with agree. I'm only gonna put it right there because I make room because I recognize that some people are just caught up in a phase or in a moment. So when looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalog. I don't know. I'm gonna go with neutral on that one. I like to look longer than some might, but I don't take longer than like 2 minutes. You could stay calm under a lot of pressure. I'm gonna go with agree on this. I almost always have to make snap decisions that are not fun. But I have to stay calm for the sanity of my family and myself and my kids. So yeah, I'm gonna go with yes on this. When in a group of people you do not know, you have no problem jumping right into their conversation. Depends on the conversation, but I would say mostly yes on this. That's what's so strange about it, because I feel like I'm I wouldn't say outspoken, but I'm very confident in what I have to say about whatever I'm talking about. Doesn't necessarily mean that. So in that respect, this no problem jumping in speaks to the confidence of my own thoughts. And in that respect, I feel myself very confident. But it doesn't mean that I want to get into every single conversation that I can. I'm just gonna go with agree on this. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. Disagree. I almost never dream. And when I do dream, it's almost always like like doing stuff around the house or traveling somewhere and things of that nature. It's almost never like bizarre. In your opinion, is it okay sometimes to step on others to get ahead in life? I don't know what you want. I don't know what they mean by that. step on others to get ahead in life? I wouldn't say that I agree with that, but I recognize the fact that you need to be competitive in life to do well. If you want to advance in life, you have to push yourself, and sometimes that means you rub up against other people. But to step on them is like definitely a negative thing. I'm gonna go with disagree, but only slightly, because I don't know exactly what they mean by that. You are dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked. I'm gonna go with disagree on that. I mean, I have my goals and I want to do it, but I do get sidetracked. I recognize that about myself. If you make a mistake, you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, and your knowledge. No, I don't really doubt myself that much. I know that I make mistakes, but I don't beat myself up over it, and I don't really doubt myself. It's just one of those things where you make a mistake, you move on, you know? Okay, when you're at a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I'm gonna go neutral on this, I think. I try to, like, hang out with everyone. And back, got food for the night. There you go, Zolkajur. Awesome. I'm at 40% right here, so 40% done. Usually you lose, and what, 2 bots came in or something? Yeah, I just blocked them. Yeah, they were just talking about, do you want to buy followers and influence more peoples? I just blocked them. Usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. Disagree, I love philosophy. You never let yourself cry in front of others. That's not true. I have shed tears in front of other people. And I often shed tears in church, so I've even cried on stream a little bit. I mean, I haven't really. I rub my eyes because tears have come to my face, and after we do some of these song reviews, and I listen to the lyrics, and I break the lyrics down, I've gotten pretty teary-eyed at times. Feel more drawn to places with a bustling and busy atmosphere than the more quiet and intimate ones. I'm gonna go with disagree on this. Strongly disagree. I prefer more quiet and intimate ones. Absolutely. You like discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future. Absolutely, I love talking about this kind of stuff. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you mostly listen to your heart rather than your head. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with somewhere around here. One of these two. If there was a spot right here, I'd go right here. I do not listen to my heart very often. I listen to my head. What makes the most sense? Not what is the like. I'm very risk averse when it comes to life decisions. So I'm gonna go with here. I've been getting a little bit better at taking meaningful risks, but in general, I try to stick to my head and what I believe is the most rational thing to do. At least in my own understanding of rationality. You cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something that you cannot see, touch, or experience. That's not true at all. I was obviously dedicating my life to God, and I cannot see, touch, or I don't know about experience, but I can't see or touch him, but I still believe he exists. So, no, there's plenty of things in the philosophy and theology and even in the biological world that interest me, but I'll never be able to see or touch them. So, you usually prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. I mean, I disagree with that. I prefer to forgive and not hold things against other people because I recognize the fact that if I hold anger or whatever against other people, it only just hurts me more than anyone else. So I do my best to seek forgiveness. So it said Virtuoso ISTP A or P for my result. Oh, nice. All right. We're going to take a look at that in a minute then. You often make a decision on a whim. Yeah, sometimes. I'm pretty spontaneous. That's why I decided to do the stream right now, because I've been thinking about this instead of doing the whole card game. You spend your time by yourself often ends up being more interesting. The time you spend by yourself often ends up being more interesting than the time you spend with other people. I'm gonna go with agree. You often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning or the message of a song or a movie. Yes, absolutely. And you guys can feel free to redeem some channel points to get a song review if you want. You always know exactly what you want. I'm gonna go with mostly yeah. I almost always know exactly what I want. Sometimes I don't know what I want, but the majority of the time I do. You rarely think back on the choices you made and wonder what you could have done differently. Like I said, disagree with this. I do think about it. Not very much, but I do think about it. I used to be more in this camp. When in a public place, you should stick to quieter and less crowded areas. Yeah, I'm gonna go with agree on that. You tend to focus on present realities rather than future possibilities. Yes, I usually do try to stick to present realities and not think about the future, because the future I can't control, but I can control the present. You often have a hard time understanding what other people's feelings. I would go with disagree on that, because I listen to so many people's opinions. I can definitely sympathize with people and empathize with those that I have had experiences that are negative. Doesn't mean that I always agree with them and their feelings, but I can certainly understand their feelings. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions upfront as possible. I'm going to go with disagree on this. I like to make the most meaningful decisions to get the job started, but very often I believe that you and I are able to make the right decisions as we are confronted with problems, and therefore we don't need to make a multiple decisions on the front end, because it can often bog us down as to what we agreed to in the past and how it doesn't even comport to what reality is showing us in the moment currently. That's why I just like bigger bullet point or bigger ideas of what we agreed to, and then we let the small decisions come through human ingenuity, unregulated by the group. You just whatever comes to mind. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you also wonder how long it will be until they become disappointed in you. Sometimes. Sometimes. Not always. Probably. I'm going to go with neutral on this. Maybe even disagree. I'm going to go with neutral on this. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, I could do that. I mean, I could definitely do that, actually. I do that almost all the time. You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios. Sometimes. Definitely. You look after yourself first and others come in second. Sadly, I'm gonna have to go with agree on this. And it's to my detriment, but it is true. I am very self-centered. When you have planned a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment. Even when you've planned out a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like. I'm gonna go with agree on this. Sadly, I don't like that about myself, but when I'm truthful about it, I do have a plan for the day, and then I end up not doing it because I just give in to whatever I want to do. Your mood can change very quickly. Disagree. I'm almost always cool hand Luke. Nothing really gets me super excited. Nothing ever gets me super depressed. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. I would agree with that. Absolutely, I agree with that. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions. Yeah, I mean, I do talk about my feelings and emotions, but I talk about them and I think about them. I don't let them guide my every single decision, but I definitely am open to my own emotions because, like I said before, they're part of humanity. You have got detailed education or career development plans stretching several years into the future. Yes, definitely. I mean, I've already gone through seminary, and I have future goals of being a pastor. So yes, you rarely dwell on your regrets. You rarely dwell on your regrets. I'm gonna go with just slightly agree here. I do think about them, but not very often. So, spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people around quickly makes you feel drained and in need of getaway. Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes on this. If you see yourself as more of a realist than a visionary. Agree. Yes, I am definitely see myself more as like a realist than a visionary type person. You find it easy to empathize with the person who has gone through something you've never have. I'm gonna go with moderately agree. Your personal work and style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Yes, I could definitely agree with that. 90% done, guys. Emotions control you more than you control them. I'm gonna go with disagree on this. After a long and exhausting week, a fun party is just what you need. I like parties, but I'm not gonna agree to that statement. You frequently find yourself wondering how technological advancement could change everyday life. Yeah, you know. Sometimes. I mean, I was more in the agree camp than before, but I'm gonna go right down the middle here. I'm gonna sneeze in a second. You always consider how your reactions might affect other people before doing something. Yeah, I'm gonna go with agree on this. I'm very thoughtful about the decisions I make. You still honor the commitments you have made, even if you have a change of heart. I'm gonna go with agree. I'm pretty loyal. You really feel insecure. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Let's see the results, guys. INFP. Here I am again, INFP, the mediator. That is the truth. I scored the INFP before. I think I was INFJ previously. Let's see where they put me on this. So, introverted 63%. Energy is intuitive. Traits show you where you are directly on mental energy. I definitely have more introverted. Intuitive. I have the nature of thinking and feeling. I am more on the feeling end of the thinking / feeling. And I've always known that about myself. I consider myself more on the thinking side, but I recognize that I have that 10% or so edge where I give room for feelings because I recognize that not all decisions are made logically. So, and this is amazing, this tactics right here. Look at this split. The advocate. There we go. INFJ. Oh, that's awesome. 57% intuitive. Let's go back up here. So you are 50% intuitive, 63% feeling. Okay, so you're a little bit more feeling than I am. 51% judging. See, look at that. We are almost exactly the same right there. I'm 49%, you're 51%. So you and I are basically right down the middle. And then assertive 71%. Oh, 72%. Wow, apparently type is rare as hell. Yeah, the advocate. Yeah. Before I was INFJ at like 51% No. I'm pretty sure I was INFA. Or INFP-A. So, yeah. Pretty interesting though, right? Nature. This trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. And then we have this. This is the one that always strikes me so much, is that when it comes to this is right down the line, basically evenly split between making judgments on people, but also understanding the reality of people's situations and making room for contextual considerations of people's lives. And then this is the other thing, assertive. I'm much more assertive than whatever turbulent is. I guess turbulent would be like letting people tell me what they think. Let's start reading, I guess. What's going on here? Oh, thanks. Okay. Mediator personalities are true idealists, always looking for the hint of good even in the worst of people and events. Is this not exactly what I was saying earlier? Searching for ways to make things better. While they may be perceived as calm, reserved, or even shy, mediators have an inner flame and passion that can truly shine. Compromising just 4% of the population, the risk of feeling misunderstood is unfortunately high for the mediator personality type. But when they find like-minded people to spend their time with, the harmony they feel will be a fountain of joy and inspiration. Being part of the diplomat role group, mediators are guided by their principles rather than by logic, excitement, or practicality. When deciding to move forward, they will look at honor, beauty, morality, and virtue. And mediators are led by the purity of their intent, not rewards and punishments. This is something that has really come up within my conversations with my family, where they would I would be presenting an ideal of the ideal. What's the ideal situation? What's the ideal thing to do? And my family would be instead trying to trap me into a reward or punishment scenario instead, where I would say, what is the ideal thing that we ought to do here? Okay, I'm not asking for whether I'm right or wrong. I'm asking for what's the best thing that we can do. And instead, they would continue to want to push blame onto me or onto themselves, but mostly onto me. And I told them, like, you can win the argument of who, if you want to win, like as far as winning, like it's for me, it's not for me whenever it comes to arguments, it's not for me about, oh, I need to win this argument. Okay, like I recognize that I'm not going to win every argument. I'm not even interested in winning the argument all the time. What I'm interested in is what is the best path forward. What is the ideal way to live? And when we have that ideal, then we ought to live by it. I'm not interested in being rewarded or pushing punishments on people, because that is just, my personality just doesn't really lean towards that. I know other people are better at that kind of stuff, but for myself at least, that's not where my heart is. So people who share the mediator personality type are proud of this quality, and rightly so, but not everyone understands the drive behind these feelings, and it can lead to isolation. Yeah, that's definitely the truth. A lot of people are more interested in casting blame on others or judging others, and for myself, I do see the value in judgment, but I always fall on the side of seeking out what's right and then just pursuing that. So here's a quote from J.R.R. Tolkien: "All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those that wander are lost, and the old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost." All those that, not all those who wander are lost. That definitely can sum up something about my personality. We know what we are, but not what we may be. So at their best, these qualities enable mediators to communicate deeply with others, easily speaking in metaphors and parables, and understanding and creating symbols to share their ideas. In fantasy worlds in particular, fascinate mediators. Dude, I love Lord of the Rings, I love Narnia, I love the Witcher series. So that's definitely the case for me. Definitely the case. The strength of their visionary communication style lends itself to creative works, and it comes as no surprise that many famous mediators are poets, writers, and actors. Understanding themselves and their place in the world is important to mediators, and they explore these ideals by projecting themselves into their work. Mediators express abilities with language doesn't stop with their native tongue either, as with most people who share the diplomatic personality type, they are considered gifted when it comes to learning a second or third language. Their gift for communication also lends itself well to mediators' desire for harmony, a recurring theme with diplomats, and helps them to move forward as they find their calling. Unlike their extroverted cousins, mediators will focus on their attention on just a few people, a single worthy cause, and spreading too thinly, they run out of energy and even become dejected and overwhelmed by all the bad in the world they can't fix. That's why I was just talking about, like, I'm more focused on the present than I am in the future. So, but you also have So then that's, I think, maybe why me and you have connected so strongly together, Zokajor, over the years, is because we are able to see that the need for that diplomatic role when two groups are disputing or fighting. Like, that's why it's like I always have been like this diplomat, you know. And suppose the language part is legit. I don't know. Inmost from our Archinilco series language. That's pretty funny. Yeah. If not careful, mediators can lose themselves in their quest for good and neglect the day-to-day upkeep of life demands. Absolutely. I've always struggled with hygiene. I mean, that's just a reality. Mediators often drift into deep thought, enjoying contemplating the hypothetical and the philosophical more than any personality type. Wow, that's definitely true. I love this kind of stuff. They can start to lose touch, withdrawing into a hermit mode. Yep. And it can take a great deal of energy from their friends or partner to bring them back to the real world. I've often said that if it wasn't for my wife, I would be a hermit living in a cave. I would be glad to live in a cave in hermit mode. Alright, let's look at some of the strengths and weaknesses. Well, you have J.R. Tolkien here, Shakespeare, Bjork, and Alicia Keys. Let's see. Idealistic. Seek and value harmony. Open-minded and flexible. And yeah, you're right about college. Jim and Brian would get into arguments all the time, but we sometimes could mellow it out. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I know that I have my opinions on subjects, but I also am able to see how we can mediate the differences so that we can live in harmony. And there's something so deeply true about that with myself, you know, where I recognize that's the thing, like, I know I need to make room for other people to have their own opinions about things, and then I often, because of that, have my own opinions, but I'm often not able to express them the way I would like to, because I'm often struggling to bring people together, you know. And sometimes it's not around my idea of it's just about a vague sense of unity. So that can be a problem on my end. But people with the mediator personality type have no interest in having power over others and don't much care for domineering attitudes at all. They prefer more democratic approaches and work hard to ensure that every voice and perspective is heard. Yeah, that's absolutely the case for me. I love hearing debates. If you're like me, then you like to hear debates between two different arguments, and this is definitely a thing here. Open-minded and flexible. The live and let attitude comes naturally to mediators, and they dislike being constrained by rules. They give the benefit of the doubt to, and so long as their principles and ideas are not being challenged, they'll support others' right to do what they think is right. Absolutely. I am very, very sympathetic to that. Very creative. They combine their visionary nature with their open-mindedness and allow them to see things from unconventional perspectives. Being able to connect many far-flung dots into a single theme, it's no wonder that many mediators are celebrated poets and authors. There you go, man. I mean, I feel like I'm more creative than I have been in the past. I've grown into that a bit. I don't. This one doesn't speak to me as much, but passionate, yeah. Dedicated and hardworking. While others focus on the challenges of the moment, may give up when the challenge gets tough. Mediators, especially assertive ones, have the benefit of the far-reaching vision to help them through. Knowing what they are doing is meaningful gives people their personality type a sense of purpose and even courage when it comes to accomplishing something they believe in. That's definitely the true for me. Like, so I often have to undertake, you know, week-long, month-long, year-long projects, and having the vision for what comes next and sticking to it and being dedicated to it is it's very true for me. This is my weaknesses or flaws. Yeah. Too idealistic. They can be too setting themselves up for disappointment, and again, evil things happen in the world, and this is true on a personal level too. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of simmered on this, but I think like just my faith in the Bible talks about how man is sinful, so I don't have too much idealistic. I suppose maybe I'm too idealistic for people that I respect to not fall into pain and sin and whatnot. That's probably where I'm too idealistic. But as far as the world goes, I'm not too shocked about how crazy the world gets sometimes. This one is more true than the other one, too altruistic. Leaders sometimes see themselves as selfish, but only because they want to give so much more than they are able to. This is because of self-fulfilling prophecy as they try to push themselves to commit to a chosen cause or person, forgetting to take care of the needs of their family lives, especially themselves. Like I was just saying about how I always want to give people the room to speak their minds, but then that often causes me to not be able to give my own thoughts, you know? When something captures mediators' imagination, they can neglect practical matters like day-to-day maintenance and simple pleasures. Sometimes people with a mediator personality type will take the asceticism so far to neglect eating and drinking. That's been true at times for me. Just like dealing with data. Yeah, I'm definitely more big picture person, and I don't like dealing with data all that much if I can help it. Like I said earlier, I think that a lot of the data type materials will be able to get figured out by the people in the moments that they are presented with them. Take things personally. I don't really see myself. Maybe I do, but I don't recognize it that as strongly as maybe this does. Difficult to get to know. Mediators are private, reserved, and self-conscious, and this makes them notoriously difficult to really get to know. And their need for these qualities contribute to the guilt they often feel for not giving more of themselves. Well, that's probably the case because of my I'm the opposite of that. I love the data. Yeah. Like the thing about it is I like the fact that data exists, but I'm not one to pore over it like others might be. So I like looking at the details first and then seeing how I feel about it. Yeah, I mean that's true for me as well. But should it be changed or altered, etc.? Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's check out romantic relationships here. Often dreamy ideas lead to the pursuit of perfect relationship. This quality shows blah 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 blah. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. This is a pretty good way that I think about life. Absolutely. Love everybody. I have a few trusted friends and don't do wrong to anyone. Fortunately, these are qualities that mediators are known for, and while it can be a challenge to separate long-fostered fantasy from realities, mediators' tendency to focus on their attention on just a few people in their lives means that they will often approach new relationships wholeheartedly with a sense of inherent value, dedication, and trust. But we aren't necessarily in a rush to commit. They are, after all, prospecting, and are almost always looking to either establish a new relationship or improve an existing one. You need to be sure that I found something compatible. Yeah, there's something about it, like, I like meeting new people, at least in the real world, and getting to know them and whatnot. But I can be pretty reserved if I don't really think that the friendship's going to work out, you know? If I don't think it's going to work out, I'd rather just not talk to you. Because, you know, I can see that this is going nowhere, so why waste the time, you know? I'm not all that. Let's go to friendships. I don't think that romantic relationships makes much sense for me talking about it. The true friends of people with a mediator personality type tend to be few and far between. Those that make the cut are often friends for life. This is absolutely the case for me. The challenge is that the many dualities that this type harbors when it comes to being sociable. Mediators crave the depth of mutual human understanding, but tire easily in social situations. They are excellent at reading into others' feelings and motivations, but are often unwilling to provide others the same insight into themselves. It's as though mediators like the idea of human contact, but not the reality of social contact. Yes. I have it is a duality in myself where I like to truly get to know people, but I don't really enjoy large groups of people. In a lot of ways, this limits the potential pool of friends to other types in the diplomat role. They are able to pick up on the subtle clues left by their mediator friends and who are more likely than not to enjoy themselves of a human enigma. Friendship with a turbulent executive, on the other hand, governed by social conventions and community participation as they are, would almost be a non sequitur. Wait a minute. A friendship with ESTJ would probably be the exact opposite type of me, and it would be a non sequitur that we would even be friends. While mediators may find the idea of being paired with that opposite fascinating enough to outweigh the challenges. Yeah, I would definitely struggle with a person that would be extroverted, and totally outgoing all the time. Ideas like networking and the friend of my friend is my friend hold little weight with mediators. Friendships are earned on their own merit. This is so true for me. Friendships are earned on their own merit, and I don't care if you're a friend of a friend. That doesn't mean a damn thing to me. Like, what matters to me is whether or not you're a good friend to me, not if you're a friend to my friend. By dint of the intuitive respect mediators have for those with similar principles and values, rather than more practical alignment like those of coworkers, mediators tendency to protect their sensitive inner cores and values from criticism, especially if they are on the more turbulent side. But the mediator's shields are properly navigated, and they should decide to open up and trust another person. A strong, stable friendship will ensue, marked by passionate support and idealism, subtle poetic wit, and a level of emotional insight that is hard to match. Okay. I think that's about it. Parenthood, it's probably is going to be the case for me. We'll see here. Try to make it quick here because I'm sure you guys have gotten the idea here at least. From the start, mediators' parents are warm, loving, supportive, and take immeasurable joy in the wide-eyed wonder of the child that they explore, learn, and grow. Pretty standard, I would think, for most parents. Yeah, I think that there's definitely a lot of, with me and my wife, letting our kids enjoy the freedom of experiences, establishing a set of morals and values that guide that liberty with a sense of personal responsibility. Yeah, this is absolutely the case for me, and my parenting style is to let my kids understand the rules of the house, understand what we value in our home, understand what we we're going to pursue as a family. We have a familial goal that we're going to achieve together, but in that space, you're free to do what you would like. But we're not going to leave the bounds of that that moral and value structure. However, this sense of responsibility has a harder side. If their children fall foul of their mediator's parental values, it will not be taken lightly. People with a mediator personality take their responsibility in parenthood seriously, and in this is measurable above all else. So yeah, it would really be a big downer if my kids were to completely reject the moral structure of the house. That would be awful. Career paths. Keep on moving here. Blah 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 blah. All right. Well, anyways, I think we pretty much have gotten all this right. I don't think we need to read any further into this. But that's the 16 personalities. I said I am an INFJ with an A. Let's go with this conclusion here. Blah 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 blah. All right, that's pretty cool though, huh? Let's see what this brings us to. I don't want to do the premium selection of this. I just want to get back to where we were. Oh, there's a guidebook. There's all kinds of things here for Mediator Academy and whatnot. No thanks. Yeah, pretty cool though, huh? Pretty cool though. So you said here you were a INFJ. So you're very close to me, dude. And Aqua said he was a virtuoso, an ISTP. That's great. So let's go back here. Let's see here. Oh, we gotta do this here. Okay, can we go backwards? I think this is it here. Yeah, let's see here. It's 4% though. 4% of the population is what I was. Oh, I lost my scores here. Oh well. Oh well, that's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was an INFP. So me and you, Zokajar, are very close in our temperaments. And you are an INFJ. What is ISTP-A for your result? What is that, Aqua? ISTP. I think I used to be a logician. Yeah, go to the very top to see the list of types. Oh, let's see here. There we go. Here we go. INFJ, that's what you are here. Advocates, that's what you are here. Quiet and mystical, yet very inspiring and tireless idealists. There we go. Sorry, switch to my computer and close the phone. Oh, that's fine. It's an explorer role. Oh, okay. Here it is right here. Bold and practical experimenters, masterful all kinds of tools. Introverted. Let's check it out. Someone with the introverted, observant, thinking, and prospecting. So you're introverted and prospecting like me. And, you were, what was this here? So Zokajar's more on the judging end, and me and you are more on the prospecting end. You're more on the thinking end than I am. Individualistic mindset, pursuing goals without needing much external connection. I wanted to live a different life. I didn't want to go to the same place every day and see the same people and do the same job. I wanted interesting challenges. Very cool, from Harrison Ford. Only about 5% of the population. So you make up about 5% of the population there, Aqua. Isn't that cool? And I take up 4%, so I'm 1% less. You dare to differ. Very cool. Nothing is as boring as everyone agreeing with you. Mm-hmm. Clint Eastwood, Bear Grylls, Michael Jordan, and Olivia Wilde. Look at some of these strengths and weaknesses. Optimistic and energetic. I'll look at mine. I'll have to in a second. Spontaneous and rational, knowing how to prioritize. It's probably better than you're probably better at that than I am. Great in a crisis. Good to know. Weaknesses would be stubborn, insensitive, private and reserved, and easily bored. Dislike commitment, risky behavior. Ah, yeah, I could see that. I'm starting to get the profile here in my head. Let's take a look at yours, Zokajor. Oh, let's go back. You were up here, weren't you? Advocate, right? INFJ. Introverted, intuitive. See, because I am an INFP-A and you are an INFJ-A. So it's just down to the assertiveness and judging, I think, prospecting and judging would be that. They tend to approach life with a deep thoughtfulness and imagination. Their inner vision, person, blah, blah, blah. Treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you help them to become what they are capable of being. That resonates with me a lot. Yeah. It's very rare, making up less than 1% of the population, but they nonetheless leave their mark on the world. Wow, man, you're exceptional, Zokajor, if you make up less than 1% of the people that take this test. They have an inborn sense of idealism and morality, but what sets them apart is that they are not idle dreamers. These individuals are capable of taking concrete steps to realize their goals and make lasting positive impacts. Tend to see themselves as helping others as their purpose in life. Advocates often can be found engaging in rescue efforts and doing charity work. However, their real passion is to get to the heart of an issue so that people can... Yeah, that surprised me for a hell, sure. Yeah, seriously. Share a unique combination of traits. Though soft-spoken, they have very strong opinions and will fight tirelessly for an idea that they believe in. They are decisive and strong-willed, but will rarely use the energy for personal gain. Advocates will act with creativity, imagination, conviction, sensitivity, not to create an advantage, but to create balance. Egalitarianism and karma are very attractive ideas to advocate personalities. These types tend to believe that nothing would help the world so much as using love and compassion to soften the hearts of tyrants. In some respects, I'm very sympathetic to this as well. Blah, blah, blah. Live to fight another day. Really, though, it is I mostly believe all that. Yeah. That's funny, see? I mean, that's why, and like I said, because me and you are so close to one another, like, I feel I totally can respect that. I don't always agree with it, but I certainly can respect it, and I can understand the reasoning behind it. I need some more water, man. My throat's getting dry. Really, though, it is more important for people with the advocate personality to remember to take care of themselves. People applying with, if the zeal gets out of hand, they can find themselves exhausted. The criticism. We are looking at the Myers-Briggs test, California Wang. So we have just taken this test, and we're looking currently at Zoki Jor's results. Yeah, and we just looked at Aqua's, and then mine as well. Now we're looking up at Zokujor's. Me and Zokujor are one letter away from each other, so we're very close to each other. Yeah, INFJ-A on the Myers-Briggs 16 personality test. Yeah, and I'm an INFP-A. So the only difference between me and Zokujor is that he is a little bit more on the judgmental side, and I'm a little bit more on the prospecting side of the personality grid. But we both have the assertive modifier at the end. So we're both willing to assert our opinions, but we are both in what's the word I'm looking for? We're both introverted types. We're both we'd rather be intuitive about the way that we see the world. We intuit things. We both are more on the feeling end instead of the thinking end of how we see the world. And then the only difference between me and Zokujor is that he's a little more judgmental, and I'm a little bit more prospecting about possibilities. And that I recognize my weakness in that regard, but that's just who I am, you know. I do like asserting myself, my opinion, but after a while, I wasn't good at doing it without causing drama, so I chilled. That's good, man. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand the reality of that sometimes. So we can put this now. iBot wasn't working, guys, so maybe it'll work now, but it wasn't. So weird because it was working just a minute ago, and now it's not loading up the YouTube video, so I can't press play. I don't know. I was listening to it all day though, so. Well, anyways, that's kind of what we were doing. So I think what we're going to do next, let's look at some of the strengths and weaknesses of the advocate, and then we're going to move on to the second test. So California Wing, you are welcome to join in on this next test we're going to take. So definitely creative, have a vivid imagination, insightful, seeing through dishonesty and disingenuous motives, advocates step past manipulation and sales tactics and into a more honest discussion. Dude, that describes you so well, Zokijor. Very reflective upon my past, to be honest. Nothing bothers me more than lingering regrets. Wow, man, you might be somewhere in the area that we are in, dude. Like, maybe that's what's attracted you so much to my stream, is because you have some of the same personality traits that me and Zokujor have. You know, where we're kind of introverted. We think about the past a lot. We think about the previous decisions that we made, and sometimes they linger with us more than other people do. You know. And how we could have made things better, made better decisions. So, yeah, you should take this test. I am an INFP-A, and he's an INFJ, and then Aqua was what was it now? ISTP-A. So everyone in the chat so far has been relatively introverted. Regrets and tests and stress are part of the test to see how you handle it and what type you are, for sure. Absolutely. Haha. Speaking in human terms, not technical, advocates have a fluid, inspirational writing style that appeals to the inner idealist in their audience. Advocates can even be astonishingly good orators, speaking with warmth and passion. This is especially true if they're proud of what they're speaking for. Yeah. Determined and passionate. So far, we are all introverted mostly. Yeah, I know. So we're all relatively introverted. Let's look at some of the weaknesses. Too sensitive? When someone challenges or criticizes the advocate's principles or values, they are likely to receive alarmingly strong responses. People with the advocate personality type are highly vulnerable to criticism and conflict. I wouldn't say that's the case with you, Zokajor, too much, but maybe it is. You can let me know. Questioning their motives is the quickest way to their bad side. So, Zokajor, when people question your motives about why you make a decision or why you say something, does that really get under your skin? I'm extroverted online, introverted offline. There you go. That's good. Yeah, I kind of ride that line a little bit too, California Wing. Like, I've definitely become more extroverted over time, but I'm mostly introverted and extremely private. Would I say, yeah, pretty much. I back out of arguments pretty quickly, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah. Advocates tend to present themselves as the culmination of an idea. That is partly because they believe in this idea, but also because advocates are extremely private when it comes to their personal lives. They use this image to keep themselves from having to truly open up. Not too much anymore, but it will yeah. Initially, I think you meant to say. They use this image to keep themselves from truly opening up. Trusting a new friend can be even more challenging for advocates. I think you're a relatively private person, Zokajor. I would think you are. Like myself, you know. You recognize the fact that there's something very private about what I do. And definitely perfectionistic. That's the good and bad, but yeah. I think that's what makes you such a great friend to myself, is that we are so similar, you know? We're so similar that, like, I can relate with you on so many levels that other people might not be able to get at, you know, because we have so many similar thought patterns, and we have such great conversations about, you know, life, video games, politics, religion, or whatever, and we have a great chemistry together, you know. So you're my streaming buddy. Always needs to have a cause. I wouldn't say maybe that is about you. I don't know. Let's see. All right. Well, anyways, let's go on to the next test here, guys. Maybe we'll move on to a different one. Another like personality test. It's another one. It's called the Big Five, which we can get into later if you want. But I want to get some water, and then I think what we'll do now is the political compass test, which I think will be fun to get into. And then if you want, we'll do another personality test, which is even more reliable than the Myers-Briggs. It's called the Big Five test. So I think having arguments are great if it's healthy does amount. Absolutely, California. I love getting into arguments. As long as people are fair-minded and they're able to present their opinions with respect towards the other person, and I think argumentation is the best form of communication. I think it's wonderful. Always need to have a cause. Yeah, if I do or go anywhere, it better have a good reason. I'm not the type to go out randomly and figure out what to do after I leave. I figure that stuff out first, and then with the data, and then I go out and carry out my plan. There you go. I'm very similar in that regard. Maybe I'm a little more open to new experiences than you might be. But in general, I want to get there. I want to get my stuff. I want to go back home, you know. But there's a little bit of whimsiness or unplanned spontaneity that I leave room for, you know. Too little would make you too ignorant to the human interaction, and too much will make you toxic. Respect I've earned, so is Respect is earned, and so is disrespect. So if you're talking with a stranger, I prefer that they have neither. Yeah. I hear you, California. Absolutely. Guys, I'm going to take I need some water because my throat is seizing up here. Go get a drink, all right? Go use the bathroom. We'll come back in like 5 minutes, all right? Maybe like 2 minutes.